Good morning, Bitcoin. Welcome to day 2 of Paralinzi Polis Conference. I know I said it wrong, but I don't care. HCPP 2018 Hackers Congress in Prague. We are back coming at you live from the fishbowl in the basement. We're joined by Dan, the Crypto Raptor, Juan Galt from Traveling the World on Bitcoin, and of course, Max Hillebrand. How's it going, guys?
Fantastic. Very good.
Awesome. Yeah, great day, first day.
Yeah, we had a great day yesterday. We interviewed 2 masked men. That's right. Each one better than the last. Smuggler talked about VPNs and privacy, and the gentleman from Samurai Wallet talked about Ricochet, Waterfall, I don't know, a dozen other great features that they had that help you protect your privacy both when you're sending Bitcoin and when they're receiving. He also defended Samurai's controversial decision to get rid of USD and fiat from their wallet. So now when you have a 0.001 Bitcoin, you have a 0.001 Bitcoin. You don't have to worry about what the value is and if it's going up or down, which is hard for giving out people dollars in Bitcoin. But as the guy said, you adopters out there who are spreading the word just need to work harder, and you need to do the conversion first, or just give them a 0.001 and say, hey, it's about $1 or something. I don't know anymore.
Well, you know, it's in my opinion much easier to send a couple of thousand Satoshis and just, you know, toss a couple of them than sending $1, which is going to be like 10,749, which is going to be a completely messed up random number, and just sending even numbers of Bitcoin is, in my opinion, just the way to go.
I like the idea. Yeah, no, I'm a fan. I working harder, making it more difficult, I think is great.
It certainly is a little harder to use, but as long as we don't go to M-bits or bytes or big bytes or small bytes or whatever these things are going to be called. I like the Satoshis because it goes to the last digit, and I like the Bitcoin because it makes life lots of nice sense, but no one has $6,000 to buy a single Bitcoin anymore. I told you to buy them when they're cheaper, but you missed your chance. I don't know why. That crazy guy in the hat, over and over again, buy Bitcoin, buy Bitcoin, all you had to do. But again, that's the past. So yesterday, what was your guys' favorite highlight? What did you like about the conference?
Well, talking to the Samurai devs was absolutely like this geek out moment for me, because I love the Samurai wallet, I love what they're doing, and I love their hardcore stance on privacy. That's really what they're doing. They don't waste their time on anything else. They're just, how can we make this more private, more censorship resistant? And that is the selling point of Bitcoin, right? Censorship resistant sound money is what Bitcoin is. Well, the sound money aspect, we all make sure that this is being kept up by running a full node, but privacy and censorship resistance, that is something that we all have to still continue working on. So I think that these interviews were absolutely amazing.
And there was a great comment in the WhatsApp group today where someone was very upset with Samurai Wallet. And so we looked their name up and we looked their company up, and it turns out that they do KYC services. So of course Samurai Wallet had no interest in their service because they don't want to know their customer. That's kind of the whole point of privacy, right?
I both liked and disliked Smuggler's interview, and the reason why I disliked it is because I learnt how much how unsafe the VPN systems that I was using actually are, you know, and it's good, it's an eye-opener. So knowing that you're actually not as secure as you think you are is a good eye-opener, because it means that you know now how to kind of counter that and make sure that you are secure, you are private, and you are safe.
And he had some great advice in adding a hardware VPN to your network, something that you could put in front of your router so that all of your traffic goes through it, rather than just hoping that your computer actually works, and when you push the on button, that it actually turns your VPN on. I know everyone is freaked out lately by the exciting story from China about Apple and Amazon and others, these very small memory chips that may or may not have been inserted into motherboards at Chinese factories, allowing them to completely bypass all security on these computers. It's a true hardware hack. And if you're wondering how it works, basically think about when a computer asks for a password and it says, I'm looking for a password that matches this. Well, if you have the hardware in there, you change the code so that you're looking for a password that matches blank. Suddenly, you're in the system for free. And this could be in all kinds of computers, perhaps even government or military computers, certainly within the Amazon cloud, the Apple systems as well. And remember, the DoD just made a great deal with Amazon to have them build the cloud for the Pentagon. So I'm sure it's going to be very secure. And remember, trusted hardware is pretty much the only way to go, right, Max?
Absolutely. Open source everything. And we need to open source not just the software, but also the hardware. If you need another reason to get your hands on the Purism line of laptops and smartphones, well, there you have it, right? That is exactly what we probably all have anticipated, that there has been some hardware level hack by state level actors. So Purism is the way to go. Open source everything.
And that brings us greatly linked to our fundraiser today. We're raising money for Max to get a Purism laptop so we can check it out and test it. We're about 2/3 of the way there, and I'm tired of being 2/3 of the way there. So we're looking for about a 0.1 Bitcoin in total. I've got the QR code right here on my annoying phone wallet. So what you do is you scan this QR code like that, and then you put in the amount of money you want to send, something like $10 or $20, or if you just want to buy the whole fundraiser, that would be great. It saves us a lot of time. But then you just push review and send here, and it takes its time, and eventually you can just send some Bitcoin right here. We're looking to finish this off. If Max raises the money for the Purism laptop, what will happen, Max?
Well, we're going to have enough Satoshis to buy this Purism laptop from the company and from Todd Weaver. And oh, there it was.
Nice.
Couple Satoshis from Bitcoins. Thank you very much, my friend. And once we have that laptop, we're going to do several videos of going in depth of what this hardware can actually do and why it is such a beautiful invention, and all the different cool features that they have to protect your privacy. Like, for example, the hardware physical switch to turn off microphone, camera, Bluetooth and wireless connections.
And so, now a hardware switch, how is that different than a software switch?
Well, a software switch can be hacked remotely by a hacker, right? A hardware switch, well, there are no wires. So the electrons cannot jump from A to B because there is no cable between A and B.
So if I turn my camera off, it's really off.
It's off.
So it's naked time. Well, that definitely sounds like something you need, Max. I've heard a lot of stories about hammocks. I think we're going to have to raise the money for that. All you have to do is donate right now. We've got this big QR code. It seems pretty good. I moved it a little.
Turn the brightness down a little bit.
Turn the brightness down. That seems counterintuitive. But here you go. Here's a little less brightness. You guys can try it at home. Let us know if it works. And we are trying to raise around a 0.1 to get this Purism laptop for Max. Also, if you check out right here on the World Crypto Network, Max did an interview with the CEO of Purism right here, and I've heard he's even at this conference today, so we're going to try to get him back down here, and it would be really great if you guys donated today so that Max would have enough money for the laptop, and we can tell the guy, we're above board. We want to buy your laptop, test it out, and talk about it right here on our channel. We'll demonstrate everything the laptop can do, anything it can't do. We'll figure it out, especially if I use it. I can break it right away. I was breaking some other software this morning. It was just so easy. Nobody ever tests anything anymore. Every user interface is annoying because the programmers have no idea what it actually looks like and they never test it. So don't let that happen to you. Test your software, right?
Precisely, absolutely. And that's what we're going to do, testing it. Yeah.
And they're asking for the Tallycoin link in the chat, so maybe we could get that to you. And we are tracking the Tallycoin. This is just a large QR code, but Max has it on his phone. He's checking that out. But we'd like to get to our guest now, who's Juan Galt, who's been traveling the world, going to Bitcoin and other conferences, talking to people about Bitcoin and just really getting a taste for the state of this community. So how's it going, Juan? Where have you been lately?
It's great. It's great. Well, I started this year with an Acapulco 2018, which was, it's a great conference. Every time I go, I have a great time. I don't really go to the presentations. I don't really watch any of the speakers.
Right.
I think at the crypto panel, I don't think they talked much about it. Was very much like Bitcoin Cash was a big deal there. I ended up baiting Roger Ver. Lots of EOS fans, EOS heads, some Ethereum people, and very few Bitcoiners, but definitely some, you know, that were representing. And yeah, that was just the general hanging out with people there is a good time. And then I headed over to I ended up in Vancouver at Dogecoin, which that was fun.
Oh, that looks great. Yeah, I would have loved to go to Dogecoin. I love those guys from the Distributed Dance Party. Very fun stuff, Tom and Gary, and they just have a great time. They get all these boom boxes, and then they get an FM transmitter in a backpack, and they go to a public place like a bus station or a city square, and they have an instant party. And they're all about the positive aspects of parties, not the drinking and the drugs and such. They are focused on partying clean, enjoying music in public spaces with random crowds of people all carrying around those boom boxes and wonderful colors, things like banana suits and so on and so forth. They're a very fun bunch, those guys.
They're one of my favorite communities, for sure. I've been to about 2 or 3 DDPs now. They actually came to Acapulco, and we did like a small DDP on the beach, which was really nice. And then in Vancouver, we had one. I probably had like 300 to 400 people walking on the streets of Vancouver, and yeah, so they have this radio antenna, and they're basically doing pirate radio, and they have this custom playlist of like the best music, dance music, and then they tell everybody to bring ridiculous clothing and wear banana suits and toys, and there's like Pokemon. There's a Pokemon the other day just walking around, right? And it's just a really good time, and they really kind of like who was there? The creator of Dogecoin. Dogecoin.
Sure, Jackson Palmer. Yeah.
Jackson Palmer, and I asked him, hey, what's it like? And he's like, dude, I feel like I didn't know how to party.
He needs to practice that. Yes,
Certainly.
Jackson, a classic creator. He hates his own creation. Had a lot of problems with the Dogecoin community. It seems like having a fun dog on your coin turned out to attract quite a lot of spammers, or scammers, sorry, from the guys from the Moolah.io. Turned out to be quite bad people taking the money, questionable pasts, as well as then the Dogecoin tip bot, where at a certain point their company was running out of money, and as I've predicted with many of these centralized tip bots, they decided the best thing to do would be to steal all the money from their users, who never ever got repaid. So it's very dangerous when you trust these centralized institutions. We tell you over and over again you need to hold your own private keys, whether on a secure paper wallet, which are kind of difficult to create, or to get a Trezor or a Ledger or a hardware device where your keys are generated not on your laptop, on a little USB thing, and your keys never enter the network because you sign and you create all your transactions on the USB device. That's why they're worth the money. And again, if you don't hold your own private keys, you don't hold your own Bitcoin.
And if you're ultra secure, you use is it the cold card that you showed me yesterday? That's incredible.
Oh yes, the cold card, open source hardware and software from the fellows that brought us the OpenDime physical Bitcoin. It's an amazing, completely offline and super secure hardware wallet that is absolutely worth checking out. 2 interviews with NVK on the World Crypto Network, so go out and check that out. Open source everything. So, you as a perpetual traveler, what is your experience on storing your Bitcoin safely?
Yeah, I mean, it's actually quite tricky. You have to think about the game theory of it it's quite grueling. You have to really sit down and think, okay, who do I trust with certain things? How do I distribute the backups, right? Do I carry the hardware wallets with me or not? And then you want to make sure that you want to know what the plan is if shit hits the fan, right? Like if okay, I lost my hardware wallets, what the fuck do I do now, right? Sorry for the cursing. And so you gotta, you really have to plan it out. Crypto Asset Inheritance book by Pamela Morgan really gets you thinking about that, and she's very good at guiding people through the process of figuring that out, and it's something that I've been teaching people how to do as well. I think the multi-signature stuff is starting to get interesting. It depends, what your use case and your use sort of practices are, but yeah, the bottom line is don't carry all your Bitcoin with you, and think about how to set up a good foundation to put the sort of long hold on. But it's tricky. You got to think about it, and it's going to be a custom solution for you to some degree. But there's some good answers out there.
It's also worth remembering that you can put your Bitcoin in different piles. You don't have to put it all in one Trezor or all in one Ledger or paper wallet. You can put a little here, a little there, a little in maybe a brain wallet. You memorize the words, or we have a guy who calls in all the time. He's split up his words into 2 or 3 sets, sent them to a friend, sent them to a friend. They have a whole system worked out. I'm not sure it's going to work in the end, but again, if you only put a small amount in there, you don't have to worry as much. And just in general, too many people get into that trap where all of your Bitcoin are in one source, and then you lose it or it's destroyed through a cataclysmic event. and you lose all of your funds. So especially if you have a large amount of money, it's good to get a Trezor and a ledger, or it's good to get 2 Trezors, something like that. People often don't think outside the box, but it is a $100 device or whatever, $200 in that range. But if you have $10,000 and you have it in one device, you're just asking for trouble, I think.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. I think the multi-signature stuff is definitely, I think, is going to be probably the future of holding large amounts of money. Like if you have $500,000 and up, that doesn't mean you have to give one of the keys to other people. You can have personally a multi-sig wallet that you control all the wallets and you know where those wallets are, and okay, great, now you have redundancy, right? And there's ways to set that up. The Shamir secret sharing, which you mentioned, where you grab the backup key and you split it into 3 and then you to give 2 to your friends. Very important that you use a good open standard for that, and that it is actually Shamir's open sharing. If you just cut it up randomly, it might actually not work and might actually make you more vulnerable. And Pamela Morgan talks about this. Trezor is actually working on a standardization of the Shamir secret sharing, so that backup storage is a lot more secure and a lot more easier to use, which I'm really excited about. I think that's great. It's great work. Yeah, so that's definitely a very exciting part of the space right now. You know, we have all this scripting language in Bitcoin that's been sort of talked down as not being smart enough, but actually it's fairly secure, very stable, stable. It works. And so you have multi-signatures, and then you have time locks, and then you have all these games we start to play with onlining, where with signed transactions that have not been sent into the network, right? And that seems to be where the innovation is happening. So I'm very excited about that.
And if you're looking for a multi-signature wallet, you should check out Mestos, MISTHOS.io. It's a great project. They're working with Blockstack. You can use that for the login and to store your data. And what Mestos does is you can kind of set up a venture. So if we were to start a software company, we could just do it where I collect the money. And then obviously I run off with the money to a beach, and you guys can work on the software. Or we could create a multi-sig on Mestos where we all get a vote. And whenever you add someone to the wallet, we vote on it. Whenever we subtract someone from the wallet, we vote on it. And we also vote on whether or not we send out the money. And it's a really easy, open source, fully free system that you can try out today at MESTOS.io. And it's much better than just using a single key or even just a normal multi-sig, because I know from personal experience using the normal multi-sig wallets, every time we add a new person to our company, we have to first create a new multi-sig, so you all have to sign again. Then we have to vote to move the money from the old multi-sig to the new multi-sig, and just the administration costs and the hassle of doing that over and over again are not worth it. There's a simple solution available. You can try it out at mestos.io, and it is open source and completely free.
Yeah, multisig is still kind of tricky. I mean, you can do, for example, Trezor with Electrum. So I have some friends that were kind of like experimenting with it and doing some research and development, I suppose. Not so much development, just playing with it, seeing what's going on. And you can plug it into Electrum, and you can set up the multisigs and stuff. But you gotta have channels to communicate the information through. It's not built into the wallet that you're just gonna talk to your friends. You gotta copy paste and send on your chat or whatever, right? So it's getting, but there's some companies working on it, Mestos, and then. I know Casa is sort of kind of starting to show up in the media, right?
Yeah.
I'm a big fan, yeah, I've been kind of, I think what they're doing is interesting, and they're working at a very sort of high level of wealth, right? So their product is still like premium Bitcoin HODL, but they have some very good strategies. So one of the things that they've done that's interesting is they've actually, when you have a 3 of 5 multi-sig, right? It's how they do it, and they're one of the keys. So Casa holds one, and then you're the other 4 keys. You already have redundancy. You're 3 out of 5, so you don't need the backups. Yeah. So they just get rid of all the backups. The backupless systems. Every hardware wallet has like the key in there, and it's like, it's in there. You can probably verify. I mean, you should be able to verify that the key's there, at least when you bootstrap the key. But then it's just there, and if it's gone, it's gone, and then you just move. They probably have a plan. I mean, it's like financial services stuff. I think that's the future of user experience in this space. It's going to be, you pay for premium service or some level of service, and then you just get something that you can call, and then they'll walk you through the process. And then there's plenty of people that are trained to do financial services in the world. We just got to move them from fiat centralized accounting systems to Bitcoin, where we can, they have less power, but they still can help us figure shit out. Or just guide people through it.
Are there any custodian services that you believe are effective and you would put your own trust in?
Well, I don't know about custodial services. I think that there's centralized, completely centralized Bitcoin bank-like services, and then there's more distributed ones, right? So you have like Shapeshift was a good example of like the intermediary version. So the user didn't really take that much risk, and then Shapeshift took all the risk. Now they got hit because they're too centralized, right?
Every time, yeah, same story.
We knew it was going to happen.
Yeah.
You know?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And I think they really believe in what they were doing before, without having the accounts, without having the KYC, and having a place where you could trade a couple of Litecoin for a little bit of Bitcoin, and just to do it and to go. And they get a little fee, and everyone's happy. Everyone except for the gatekeepers who want to know exactly how much money you have and everywhere that you put it and everything you do with it, which is not really compatible with Bitcoin or the kind of ideas that we're hearing about today at HCPP.
Oh yeah, and you know, then the question is, how do you get your hands on some Bitcoin if you have fiat? Because all these centralized exchanges, they are first of all custodial, so they hold your private key, and they do KYC, so they force you to completely get naked and show who you are and where you have all your money, and that, in my opinion, is just not necessary and not okay. So using a decentralized peer-to-peer exchange like the BISC network is an amazing way of making sure that even though you're using a fiat on-ramp, it is as private, it is as anonymous as it can get. Yes, cash is king in that regard, so if you can exchange some physical cash for some Bitcoin, that might be even better. But if you like the comfort of doing online banking with wire transfers or SEPA transfers, then BISC is really the way to go.
Yeah, absolutely. No, BISC is very good. I actually worked with them for a little bit back in the day, and they're basically as hardcore as you can imagine at the centralized exchange. And this is actually fiat to crypto exchanging, right? So that's very good. Local Bitcoins is still great. I would love to see a way to have, share the order books between these decentralized platforms, right? Because now you end up with silos again, right? Like
sure.
The BISC silo and then the right.
Well, if they don't have enough liquidity, you can't even really trade there, right?
Yeah, and all these exchanges are liquidity kind of pools, right? That's why people get into them. It's a network effect. It's sort of it's exponentially more valuable to go into a high liquidity pool. If we can open those order books, that would be a new world. So, yeah.
And we have a fantastic question in the chat by John Smith, who asks that he once or twice did KYC when he was young and dumb. And the question is now, is his privacy fucked for life? Will I be hunted down and tortured for my Bitcoins? Well, let's hope not, right? And we talked about Smuggler, we talked with Smuggler about this, that even if you make one little mistake, does that mean that your entire privacy is broken? Well, no, not really. One little piece of the puzzle might now be revealed, but the entire large-scale puzzle is still out there, right? It is still something that you can treasure and keep private. So yes, doing KYC will of course break your privacy, but that means that you have ways of cleaning out these Bitcoins and making sure that they are anonymous again. So maybe use the Wasabi wallet and some Charmian coin joins integrated, or maybe do some other stuff. Maybe there will be stuff coming in second layer solutions like confidential transactions and sidechains, or other other mechanisms of making sure that your privacy is being retained again. But I would not say that if you make one mistake that means that you've completely lost your entire privacy. You've just lost this little piece.
Yeah, it's not worth just giving up and not using a VPN anymore. You want to keep using your VPN. You want to be as secure as you can. Nobody can be perfect with this, and we've seen this, of course, with the case of the Dread Pirate Roberts, who may or may not have leaked his identity very early on, and they may or may not have used that to track him down. We don't really know. It could be a case of parallel construction, but it'll be a while before we figure that out. We do want to thank our donors on the fundraiser. We've had 2 donations today so far. Remember, you can scan this QR code right here, or we have the link for you in the chat. I think it's tallyco.in/purism. And we received a 0.00152529 and 0.00161378. We are now 71.19% towards our goal. Our goal is around 0.3 Bitcoin. We have around 0.21 Bitcoin. So if you want to buy the entire fundraiser right now, you can send us a 0.09 Bitcoin, and we won't have to bother you anymore. So it's a great fundraiser. We're going to get a Purism laptop for Max. He's going to be able to turn off his cameras at night no matter what happens in his room. He's going to feel safe and secure. And it also runs Linux, right, Max? The Linux operating system?
Oh yes, absolutely. For only 9 million Satoshis, you can get a good insight in the amazing Pure OS privacy-focused operating system that is a Debian derivative. So yes, it is open source. Yes, it is Linux. It has some features we're taking out of the original Debian to increase privacy even further. So again, this laptop is 100% focused on privacy on every step of the supply chain. So only 9 million Satoshis. It's up to you.
And remember, it's not just that Max gets a laptop, it's also that we get to watch all of these review videos where Max is going to tell us how this laptop works and tell us why it's better than maybe this Apple laptop. When this Apple laptop is executing its code, I have no idea if it's actually executing the code. For all I know, it's executing my code plus government code, or my code plus secret corporation code. I have no idea what's going on inside this laptop. I don't really care. I use it to edit videos and things. But if you do care, if you're editing your naked videos, or if you're keeping a Bitcoin on your laptop, you might want to get one of these Purism laptops. They even have Purism phones, which will probably be Max's next fundraiser if the laptop turns out to be as great as they say. But remember, you can support the World Crypto Network by donating now, or by giving us a thumbs up and a share. Remember, thumbs up are free, and that's how YouTube decides whether or not something is good content. If you give someone a thumbs up and a lot of thumbs up, then YouTube will recommend it to other people, and that helps more people find this content, which we're doing for you live for free from Prague. So thank you so much for your donations. And we do have the sound on here on Tallycoin, so if you do donate, we will hear it. So you can be a part of this show, interactive forever. It's really amazing.
Yes, very amazing.
Well, we already talked about a lot, and what we did not talk about is your occupation at the Bitcoin magazine.
Mm-hmm.
So what exactly do you do there, and what was your experience working in the Bitcoin field?
Yeah, so I mean, I just joined again. I used to write for them a couple of years ago. So we just started. You know, we haven't written for anything for them yet since I started. But I used to work with them, and I mean, in my opinion, they're one of the best sort of media organizations in the Bitcoin space. Certainly in the text sort of written space. You know, in-depth articles, well described. You know, competent journalists. Maybe some of the most competent journalists out there. So, and so yeah, that's.
That does sound great, and I did hear recently that early copies of Bitcoin Magazine #1 were selling for as high as $700 on eBay. Of course, it's another thing like the Custodian coins. It was just right before my time, and I was trying not to collect back issues of magazines at the time. I have stacks of Wired magazine and stacks of other magazines, and I didn't want any more. And of course, that one turns out to be collectible. So there we go. All the ones I did collect, worthless. That one actually worth something. So.
But you got Bitcoin, so that's just as good.
I have a little Bitcoin, but not as much as I would if I had Bitcoin Magazine, apparently. So what do you think, Juan? Did you get some early copies of the magazine? Are you rushing to eBay right now?
Yes.
I see your assistant is furiously typing away, checking the prices on eBay. She's got a glint in her eye. She's very excited.
She should be. She should be. Great magazines. I actually had some back in the day because I had like 3 or 4 of them and they got wet or something.
Oh, of course. I remember something like Vitalik used to come to the Bitcoin meetups and give them out for free, and he just couldn't get rid of these things, and now he's a billionaire or whatever, so it's a crazy story, you know.
Wow, is he just like hodling Bitcoin magazines like this?
I believe that, yeah, he's got a pile of Ethereum and a pile of Bitcoin magazines, and he's just a very happy guy these days. You can't really tell by his facial expression, but I imagine Vitalik is happy.
I can't wait for him to, maybe somebody was saying that this was probably fun, but they were saying that he's getting ready to exit Ethereum. So can't wait for him to so focus on working out, and then we'll see in 5 years, like...
Yeah, oh yeah. Gonna do a Charlie Lee.
Yeah.
So your world tour then, what's the kind of most interesting conference you've attended and why?
I mean, obviously Dogecoin was hilarious. I mean, any meme crypto conferences you should go to. And lots of art and crypto art things. A lot of Pepe Cash and Dogecoin, and this was fantastic. I actually have a full interview with like some of the top dudes, including the DDP guys. You guys can check out. The second one was probably the Bitcoin, the Honey Badger conference in Latvia.
Yes,
nice.
Yeah.
That was legendary.
Epic.
Yeah, that was really, really great. Really epic. Probably the best Bitcoin conference this year. All the big names. It was incredible. Like I took a picture of Whale Panda, and then behind him was Elizabeth Stark. You know, so just two sort of kind of Bitcoin celebritarians. You know, or celebrities anyway. So it was very cool to hang out with people there. Yeah, and I mean the other conference that I was at that was just kind of interesting was Blockchain Futures Conference in Toronto, which is a total sort of, you know, altcoin paradise, you know, to be nice. Yeah. So Toronto is very much like that. A lot of Ethereum tokens and stuff like that. I was looking for the Bitcoin community, like I want to find them, but like it's been actually quite difficult in my travels to actually find like where is the. Actually, I found some in Phoenix. Surprisingly enough, there's actually some serious Bitcoin stuff that's happened in Phoenix, and like old school Bitcoin people from Phoenix. There's a great pizza shop that we hung out there. Bitcoin Pizza Shop or something, you can find it in Phoenix. That was a good time. And then Parallel Polis, I mean, there's some very interesting stuff happening here.
It is getting harder and harder to find the Bitcoin community, especially at conferences like the ICO Scam Fest and all these other kind of nonsensical conferences that seem to be set up overnight as if people carrying their carpet bags on the way from thing to thing, not really fans of Bitcoin. I've heard a lot of people are into blockchain or they're into their crazy altcoin and they've never even tried Bitcoin. They've never even read about it. So it is a bit disheartening to see people going the wrong way and going the wrong way so quickly.
Oh yeah, and I even met this one woman, and she was writing her doctor thesis on blockchains. And I asked him, so what are your thoughts on Bitcoin? She's like, well, yeah, no, I've never like looked into it. I've never done a Bitcoin transaction. And I'm like, so you're saying that you're writing your doctor thesis on blockchains, and the only functional blockchain out there is not of interest to you. So that was quite a profound experience, and the blockchain buzzword bingo is strong and ongoing. So then you are a bit into the shitcoin trade, and especially the altcoin trading. So what has been your experience there?
Well, to be honest, as much as I love my shitcoins, ultimately I'm a Bitcoiner. And I know it's a kind of, some people say it's like a false dichotomy, but I'm a Bitcoin maximalist and kind of a shitcoin maximalist to a certain extent, because obviously my end goal is to have more Bitcoin ultimately, and I do think that there's a lot of innovation that's happening that can be learned from in terms of, from Bitcoin's perspective. Now, I'm not saying that the devs are as good on other platforms as they are on Bitcoin, because everyone likes to say that the best devs are on Bitcoin. But I still think there's some good innovation out there, and I'm not going to lie. Sometimes I've had to convert when shifting from exchange to exchange or whatever. Instead of using Bitcoin, I've had to use another crypto as a medium of exchange, just to make it quicker and a bit more convenient. But that's why we've got things like Lightning Network that's going to come into play. And these are technologies, and Segwit, for example, that's really helped the transactions speeds. And so there is a lot of innovation I think we can learn from, but also lessons around security that are happening on all these shitcoins. That are really kind of eye openers for people. How people manage their own Bitcoin as well.
Well, and the real question is, what is the goal of the altcoin, and what is the goal of Bitcoin? And for me, the goal of Bitcoin has always been sound money. Sound money, stopping inflation, having a deflationary currency seems like the problem of our times. A lot of different strands in this world, from war to government spending to just waste, and even things that dissolve, like this consumerism about devices that fall apart after 5 years, is because we're just printing money and that we're a consumer economy. We've got to keep spending and spending and spending. And obviously that doesn't fit with a conservationist type idea or the actual conditions on Earth, where we only have so much air, we only have so much gold, so much land, things like this. We're in a scarce society, but we have this endless amount of money. When I look at the ICOs, it seems like the problem they're solving is they didn't want to fill out a bunch of forms and have an IPO. And the great thing about filling out forms and having an IPO is when the IPO goes bust, you know who to sue. You sue the people that filled out the forms. If you have your own ICO and you just launched it yesterday and your buddy Joey wrote the code and he launched the coin and it's out now and nobody knows how to reach you, when you exit scam with all the money, or if you just burn the money in a big pile, there's no one to sue. So making a new scam coin that no one can sue seems much less interesting to me than solving the world's problem of sound money. Maybe I'm just thinking about it with too much of a historical lens, or that I've read books that I think that this is better, but I do think Bitcoin is better.
Yeah, and ultimately Bitcoin is the most secure network on Earth, and I think that there's going to be a lot more companies and services leveraging the Bitcoin blockchain via sidechains, etc. And I think that that's going to probably accelerate quite a lot in the near future with all the emerging technologies like Mainstay, for example, and the anchoring of sidechains to Bitcoin.
And especially with the SegWit upgrade now active, with the Lightning Layer 2 solution getting going, potentially Layer 3, 4, 5 if necessary solutions, Bitcoin is a technological project, and it's not always staying the same. It's getting better and it's changing. Just like our Tallycoin fundraiser that is up to 0.22 Bitcoin. We're only looking for 0.08 Bitcoin, and I won't fundraise for the rest of the day. That's right, donate 0.08 Bitcoin right now, and I will never mention this for the rest of the day. We are 73% towards our goal. That means that there's only about 27%, check my math, until we get there. And we'd like to thank our latest donors, donor 0.00454988 and donor 0.00152509. Thank you so much for your support, and thank you for remaining anonymous. Remember, when you donate with Bitcoin, we don't know who you are, we don't know where you're from, but we just know that you donated. So thank you so much for donating to Max and the Purism Laptop Fund, which is right here behind us, as well as on the internet at tallyco.in/purism. Donate 0.8 and we're done for the day.
Yes, that would be fantastic, and thank you, Piers, for giving the support here to the WCN. That is really fantastic. Thank you very much. And we talked a bit about these altcoin shill festivals, and maybe what we can do against that. And I just put in the chat a link to the Helsinki Blockchain Conference, a blockchain conference that is, well, a blockchain conference. So unfortunately, it is mainly focused on ICO pitches and all that funny stuff. And Nico from Consensus, who has also been part of the World Crypto Network, he and I are attending this conference, and we are speaking on the second day. Well, we decided to not take part in any of these shitcoin shillery, but rather do like a Trojan horse. So we got invited to there, and we're going to speak only about Bitcoin, only about sound money. So we have all these blockchain interested people there who are at least taking the first step, right? They realize that fiat currencies are just not as good as they can be, and they say, okay, so let's try something new. And now they found this blockchain hype, and they think that like their dentist records should be on the blockchain. And we're gonna tell them, yeah, dentist records are nice and all, but honestly, sound money is what it is all about, as Thomas said. So maybe if you know one of these ICO shill fests, just go on there and represent Bitcoin, and present how you are using this magic internet money. So what are you guys' thoughts on infiltrating these ICO fests?
I love it. I love it. Do it. Do more of it. Yeah.
And I definitely think it's okay to go there and to ask them hard questions. Like, we were talking to this guy, Amin, yesterday, and he said, do you need a blockchain or a therapist? And I thought it was a really great comment, because these people seem to have lost their minds. And for me, a lot of it comes from this idea. I think that they started out with a paper system. Like, for example, if you transport gasoline around the country, every station you go to, you pump 2,000 gallons of gas into the station, and you write it down on a piece of paper called a bill of lading. This is an old system, right? They've never upgraded to databases. They didn't give tablets to the truckers, so on and so forth. So what I think is that these IT departments, instead of getting $1 million to upgrade to database, they got smart and they said, we're going to use blockchain and we're going to get ourselves $10 million and we're going to program this from the beach in Waikiki. And we're going to have a nice time coding this upgrade. And sure, do they need a blockchain? After about a year or two worth of heavy study with some pina coladas, they're going to figure out that they don't need a blockchain. All they needed was $10 million for their IT upgrade. So it really doesn't make any sense technically, and if it doesn't make sense technically, why are you doing it? Maybe because you got $10 million. And a friend of mine was asking me about an altcoin, something like Flubbercoin, and she said, what is Flubbercoin? And I said, well, I've never heard of it, but I imagine that they printed their own money, they're trying to get someone to buy their own money from them, and then they're looking to exit scam maybe to a nice beach, or maybe they prefer the slopes of the Alps, they're more skiing type people. And I warned her to get paid in front. Get paid in advance if you're going to work for one of these ICO scam fests, and don't get paid in the coin. Take Bitcoin, take real money, don't mess around. Yes, we're going to give you 10,000 Flubber coins, and one day they're going to be worth $1 a piece. Oh, I guarantee it. What do you guarantee it on? I used to hear about this thing called Paycoin. They said they had a $20 floor. The coin would never go below $20. And you know what happened? It went all the way to zero, and the Paycoin guys are in jail now. That's right. Eventually it all comes back to you. If you print your own money abstractly, if you run a stock market ICO without filling out the paperwork, they're going to find you. They're going to get you. The whole brilliance of Satoshi is that he completely disappeared instead of exit scamming. Classy guy. Classy guy.
Do you think that million's ever going to move the Satoshi's initial mine?
The way I think about it is that maybe as a programmer, he just threw out the data. He was just testing the system, and then also from an economic standpoint, because unlike Vitalik Buterin, Satoshi seems to have studied economics, things like the $21 million cap, 21 billion Bitcoin cap, the deflationary structure of Bitcoin rather than Ethereum, where you can always print more. They recently changed the supply structure to pretty much enrich the pre-mine. They changed it from 3 to 2, which is like Bitcoin changing the other direction. We're going to print more money, we're going to print less money, whatever can help us out. So I think someone with that kind of foresight and that kind of knowledge would know that these large amounts of Bitcoin that are in there are kind of like pillars holding up the Bitcoin economy. So if Satoshi were to come back, and if he were to move one of these large pillars, I think that we would see a big tumbling down. And Satoshi cared so much about this project that he left. Once again, Prometheus. Prometheus gave man fire. Then the gods chained him to a rock, and this bird ate out his liver, and every day his liver would regrow, and every day the bird would come back until Hercules got there. I think Satoshi saw this, and he said, I'm not going to let that happen to me. I'm not going to be tied to a rock waiting for Hercules. I'm just not going to show up. And he took off. And I think it's, again, the smartest thing. No other founder of any other cryptocurrency could ever hope to match Satoshi because they're simply too greedy to leave billions and billions and billions of dollars on the table like Satoshi obviously did. So, no, I don't think those coins will ever move. And certainly if they do, expect a massive panic. So those of you who like panics and are predicting 1,300 or 5,000 for the entire year, being completely wrong all year, well, maybe if the Satoshi coins move, maybe you'll get your wish. But until then, I'd hold on to that Bitcoin.
And even if he would move them, first of all, he has built this amazing sound money network, and he has absolutely any right to get compensated for that because he did not steal these Bitcoin, right? He did not take it away from anyone. He produced it himself. And this production is really, really valuable. So he has all the rights to move any and all of these Satoshis because, well, they're even named after him. And then further, though, as you said, Satoshi really does know a lot about economics, and I 100% agree with that, especially about Austrian economics and true sound monetary economics. And then here he realized that if we restrict the money supply even further, right, if we make some portion, the 1 million roughly, with the lost coins, maybe even up to 4 million Bitcoin, If we take them out of the money supply, this will make the Bitcoin money supply even more restrictive, and it will decrease the growth of the money, which will further increase the price of the currency. So we thank Satoshi very much, and we thank all the people who have lost their Bitcoin very much, because that has increased the value of our hodlings. So thank you for taking a hit for the team.
My belief is that in somewhere around 80 to 60 years, or maybe sooner, we'll see. Depends on how long Satoshi lives. Maybe Satoshi will get uploaded to the cloud or something. Why wouldn't he? My belief is that he will, during the greatest sort of rally, he will grab his stash and literally buy the moon.
Sounds like a good buy. There's only one moon, just like there's only one London and there's only one San Francisco. We'd like to thank our latest donor 0.0007611. And remember, you don't have to donate a lot. You can donate $5, $10. We've received 20 donations overall, so this is a work in progress. Everyone's working together to donate. We are 73% towards our goal, 73.98%. And we have 0.22 Bitcoin, and our goal is 0.3. So we're just very close to reaching our goal. If you could donate now or to the Tallycoin link in the chat, that would be great. Max, are you excited? We're getting closer. What do you think?
Oh, this is absolutely amazing, right? This shows the pure power of Bitcoin, right? It is magic internet money. We have a QR code back here in the background, and that's all you need. Right? That's literally all you need to send us as many Satoshis as you want, starting from a couple to up to several millions, right? So this is a wealth transfer, because Bitcoin is both a payment mechanism and a currency, and that is unique, right? We only need to show you the address, and you can use this address and the internet and the Bitcoin network to transfer wealth from you to someone who you think deserves it. So if you do think that the World Crypto Network is a pristine channel, a pristine network, then this is a nice way to reach out to us and to support us in all the efforts that we have here. Because guess what? Like, we're sweating here inside this aquarium, right? Lots of lights and not too much of fresh air. So this is actually work, although it is fun work. And I really would like to continue doing this and continue talking to these amazing peers and providing you this content. And this is just one tiny thing that keeps us motivated. So thank you very much for all the donations.
And people are upset that we're being critical of Vitalik in the chat, but if you can prove that he's taken a single course on economics at the college or above level, or read a book about economics, please post the proof below in the chat. I would love to be proven wrong on that, but I think he's more of a computer programmer and an idea man. I don't think he's so much of a studier. So we'll see about that. I'm waiting for your link. Maybe you could use Peter Todd's open timestamp system or Proof Marshal to help back this up on the blockchain, which, as we know, is the arbiter of truth and all knowledge. I saw an IBM commercial recently, and they said that they have that whole diamond thing figured out, that they're going to put the diamonds on a blockchain, and this way you'll know if they're clean diamonds or if they're dirty diamonds. Of course, if the person entering the data into the blockchain is lying, the blockchain is simply preserving the lie for all time in a beautiful, as if it was encased in carbonite. We like to secure and save things that way, important things like diamonds and tomatoes and vegetables and Han Solo. All of those things are great to be preserved and perfect for blockchains.
Well, absolutely, Juan. It was a pleasure talking to you, and we spoke quite about a lot. So maybe any last words from you, anything that you wish.
And certainly, where can they check out your YouTube channel? Let them know.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, my YouTube channel. You can find everything that I do on Juangalt.com. That's JUANGALT.com. I'm on Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, you name it. I'm on it. Thank you so much for having me. It was a great conversation. Let's get this man his laptop, this Purity laptop, so we can test it and everything, and I'm sure the next show will be fantastic.
That's right. Let's get it soon so I can try it and I can break it.
There you go.
I'm great at that. Thank you so much, Juan, for being on the show. Thank you.
Thank you.
Juan.
Thanks for everybody.
That's great.
All right, so I put the word out on the text message. I asked people to bring us people. We have a guy outside who's supposed to bring us people, and there's nobody there at all, right, Dan? It's already 2:30 here. The conference is well underway. It seems like we've been live for at least half an hour, but not a soul has been brought to us. What do you think, Dan?
But
there's people watching us, but they don't seem to want to come on the camera. This is a famously camera-shy conference. They get upset when you take out a camera, despite the fact that we all have cameras in our pockets, and there are cameras pointing at us almost all the time, especially in cities like London.
Well, there's been a lot of controversy, hasn't there? I've seen in all the chats this morning about some people filming the audience before the kind of show started.
And we were talking about this morning, and I was saying that it's very obvious to me that if you're a real hacker, you shouldn't go outside. And if you're a real hacker, you definitely
outside the basement.
Outside the basement, outside your room. You should stay home. If you go outside to a hacker conference, we pretty much all know what's going to happen with you. They're going to put your face on a postage stamp, and they're going to look for you in everything that they do, and they just love it when you go outside. So real hackers, stay home, watch the live stream, use your VPN, use 2 or 3 VPNs, multiply it. You know, there's all kinds of options out there. And, you know, meanwhile, what else is going on, Dan?
Well, I think I must say that the entertainment last night was pretty cool. There was a kind of very animated singer jumping on tables and like grinding stools and all sorts. It was I
only saw a very loud and noisy guitar player, and I was like, if they want someone to play kind of badly, I could do that. But otherwise, I'm not so sure about the entertainment. There certainly were a lot of drunk people, and that's always entertaining. And I got to talk about Star Trek with a girl, which was great. But
yeah, so there was this one girl coming up, and she was like, "Oh yeah, I'm a huge Trekkie fan." She even had like this bracelet, which was like a Trekkie symbol. And I was like, "Oh, you like Star Trek? Where's Thomas?" I was like, "Thomas, she likes Star Trek," and they talked for hours. So that was nice.
Well, yeah, I think you were looking to go home, sort of, you know, and you suddenly sort of found this new conversation, and sort of an hour and 3/4 later, you're still talking about.
That's right. You tricked me into staying out
ships
longer
only
because I got to talk about Star Trek. So quite a lot of great stuff going on in Star Trek. The new Discovery show is pretty decent. I think they should write the whole thing in advance next time because I kind of worked it backwards, and there's a lot of plot holes. It doesn't really make any sense at all.